I grew up with no TV. And when I say I grew up with no TV, it's not like I didn't have a TV from the age of 2 to 4. I just never had a TV until I was 18 years old. And I grew up in France. It's not like TVs didn't exist. I think my parents just decided that we wouldn't have a TV for several reasons. They could have afforded it. It's not like we were poor or anything. They just decided that we would have something else, And I don't remember ever missing a TV. I could watch it at neighbors in the neighborhood or at my granddad. And my granddad had like one of these TVs, the one that by the time you're done like searching with the antenna and the button and the thing, and you angle it and you replug it because it's not working, then the show is gone. So it's kind of like watching the TV, but really, literally, you're watching the device, not what's inside. I don't remember ever missing that TV, and it's just because my brothers and I, we had like a bunch of other cool stuff. We had paints, crayons, we had like paper. We could walk outside in the hills. We were busy. We were really busy, and all these things that parents are always like, oh yeah, I love my kids to have all of that. And then it starts and it gets messy, and let's put them in front of the iPad. So people ask, you didn't have a TV when you were a kid, but what did you do? We were just fine. Like, we had plenty of stuff to do. So overall, I just always tell this story because it took a while and it took years for me to realize that somehow this lack of TV, if you will, was kind of like a disguising blessing because we've put in an environment where we were encouraged to be creative, to do our own stuff for ourselves. If we wanted to go outside, great. If we wanted to paint inside, great. I'm left-handed. And my mother has a theory that I'm left-handed because my brother was right-handed, and he will be drawing in front of me, and I will kind of like mirror him. That's a theory. It's probably not very scientific, but So really, we got encouraged in this natural path, and somehow we created passions. All my brothers are in the creative field. I'm in the creative field, and I'm hoping that my kids will be encouraged. I encourage a lot my kids to kind of like be around with crayons and stuff and get dirty, and once in a while, well, I have to wash the wall, that happens. I realize that not everyone is fortunate enough to be in this situation, Some kids are like kind of left out by the parents who just say, hey, sit in the TV, so at least you're going to be quiet for like 3-4 hours and I can do my own stuff. So that's what I call the right basket. You fall into it or you don't fall into it. I fell into it and I was very fortunate about it. But it doesn't mean if you don't fall into this basket that you don't have a chance to be creative, that you don't have a chance to eventually work in a creative field. And it doesn't mean you cannot have a passion and express it. If you like to paint, well, just take paints, brushes. It's very accessible. You can find it in every craft store. Just go for it. You don't have to be a professional by it. You don't have to be an accomplished artist. You just have to paint, literally. If you like to dance, dance. Just don't hurt anyone or don't hurt yourself. If you like to write, same thing. There are computers, there are paper, crayons. Just go for it. If you like to do photography, just go outside, get a camera. It doesn't have to be a fancy camera. It doesn't have to be like something giant. It doesn't have to cost 50 grand. You just take the camera, you go outside, you take pictures. 99% of the pictures are going to be terrible. And that's fine. 99% of my pictures are terrible. But then you go through it and you learn from your mistakes. That's the way it goes. Creativity is not about being a genius, waking up in the morning, having an idea, execute the idea, and say, that's it. I'm a genius. The world will recognize me. That doesn't work like that. You have to go through the work of it. The best geniuses or people who have been considered geniuses in the world worked really hard their entire life. You don't have to be good at everything. You just have to focus your system into something and just, again, express yourself within this search. So maybe you won't get the support that you're looking for from your family, your friends. The people will look at you, you're an artist, huh? Good luck with that, because you're not going to make a living. Who cares about making a living right now? You will eventually make a living, but you have to learn from it like everybody else. So sometimes it's more like about like being a misunderstood path. I'm here today to kind of tell you, look, if you're creative and you want to encourage this path and push it to see how far you can go, well, this is possible. I've done it. I'm not special. Plenty of people can do it. Plenty of people are doing it. It's just because at some point you need to kind of take the rules, go a little bit beside it, and just push for yourself. It's on you. The passion is on you, only on you. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You can't really do it halfway. There's no going back. You're going to drive that train. You're going to be the pilot of your own creative destiny. So don't quit on your passion. Be the strong link in a chain of stuff that are going to drive you. you know? Don't be like everybody else. Don't be the clone. No one else can do it for you again. So who can judge what's good for you from what's not good for you? If you want to express yourself because that's what makes you feel good, just go for it. You know, take the risk, lead it. Don't let people tell you what's normal. Don't let people tell you what's normal life, what's expected from the society or the surroundings. They're doing something, great. You're doing something else, perfect. You know, it's fine. The society needs a little bit of variety. So if you're not done for sitting at a desk your entire life, or even like a certain amount of life, you know, I've done it before. I realized pretty quick I wasn't there for that. So you don't want to sit at the desk, that's fine. You don't want to do it for 20 years. Do you want to go back at the end of the year, being like 45, 50-year-old, looking back and saying, hey, I sat at the desk for 20 years, I hated it. As far as I know, I have one life. I'm going to make the most of it. I'm not going to sit at the desk for 20 years just because I don't feel like it. So as long as it's not illegal or dangerous for others, and illegal, we can go back into it, you know. There are plenty of great ideas, great creative ideas that came from people trying to break the law a little bit. I'm not encouraging it. I'm not saying break the law, but keep it in mind. It could seem natural for me because, you know, I've been through the years of being creative and stuff. And again, when I was a kid, I kind of like got cocooned in this right basket that I talked about earlier. But I still had made the decision. I still decided to be a creative professional at some point and push it with it. I just said, okay, that's what I like to do. How do I get there? What do I refine? You know, these are my skills. How do I make them better? What do I have to learn to actually be a complete creative professional? How do I get there? And it takes hard work, you know. It took 15 years. 15 years, and I just feel like it's only the beginning. And there is a reason why I feel like it's just the beginning, because I get to this point where now I'm balanced between my brain and my heart, which is running my passion, running the efficiency of it. You know, how do I make a living out of something that really passionates me? It's hard. Sometimes you have to make concessions. I'll come back to that. But really, I got comfortable. I get the respect. People even ask me to come on the stage and talk about it. The idea is, if people ask you to talk about something, it means you probably did something right at some point. So it takes hard work, it takes commitment, and you know, if you have a real interest in it and you really want to push the limits and question yourself about what can you bring to the table that's new, what kind of like new idea can you bring? A lot of people come to me and say, oh, you're so lucky, you do what you love for a living. You know, it's not like there was like a giant lottery and they say, hey, you know, like the big prize is a creative job, you won the lottery. I worked for it. I wasn't lucky at all, you know. I just put myself, the only luck I had was kind of like being in somehow a surrounding that would encourage it. But I had to work for it, like seriously. I went through years of university. I went through a lot of up and downs being an independent back home where you don't have money and you're still attached to it and you say, no, I'm not gonna sit at that desk because that's not what I want to do. So, you know, sometimes, well, you have to meet ends one way or the other, but ultimately that's what builds you, that's what makes you stronger. It's harder when you're passionate to try to pay the bills. It really is, because suddenly you put your feelings in it. An accountant is there at this desk, and no offense to accountant if they're in a thing, they're really useful. They can count the little money I have. You get a tree in a spreadsheet. The boss comes behind it and say, just put a 4 there. That's kind of all right. You know, I'll do it. Boom, done. Total change, new life. Ultimately, if somebody comes to me, a client says, can you change that? That's a whole different game, you know, because if I put it in there, there's a chance that I did it on purpose and I kind of thought of it, so I'm a little bit attached to it. And, you know, part of every artist or creative or whatever you want to call it, you need to consider a little bit the ego of it. It's just because, you know, it's the natural thing with it. The feelings are important, and they're a big part of our job, and we have to be careful with it because we have to find that right balance. But it's not easy. No one said that is easy, you know, again, balance between the brain and the heart. Where do you put your passion? Where do you put your love? Where do you put, like, the reason behind it? I found that right balance, you know, about like a couple years ago. Now I'm good. You know, I can afford to pay stuff for my kids. I can own my house, you know, I can do like the basic stuff that every kind of like job aims at. So I got to that point where I'm kind of comfortable about being who I am, you know, professionally and personally. So this kind of job, you will hear a lot, oh, you're the guy doing the fun stuff. Do I look like a clown? Do I look like I'm funny? I'm not funny. I'm not a funny guy at all. I'm very serious about what I do, you know. And sometimes people look at me, it's like, oh, you're doing the fun stuff, but you're not really funny about it. You know, you're very serious. Well, yeah. Are you a professional? No. You know, I'm just an amateur, and once in a while, I just email an invoice just to see if they take the bait, you know, and send me money. It's like, oh, perfect. The best one, and you know, most creative people who actually had a job in it, at some point, just will understand this one. It's people are like, oh, well, we can't really pay you for that job, but you'll get a lot of exposures about it. I'm looking forward to go to the school of my daughter. I say, well, I don't have money this month, but I can pay you exposure for a fee. You can give it a shot. I tried at the supermarket, doesn't work. Well, the cashier looked at me and said, you have an accent, I don't understand what you're saying. So it's a hard job, you know, when it takes passion. And really you can do it halfway. You can't really be half committed. You can just show up, you know, like it's an office day. Say, all right, I'm gonna spend like 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes of the day in the kitchen today, you know. Kind of, it doesn't work like that. You know, you have to put the hours, and trust me, the hours are long. When you're independent, you're not on a 40 or 45 or 50. You just don't count, you just do it, you know. You don't know how many hours you're gonna put. And sometimes, you know, I hear a lot of people tell me, oh, you know, it's just a hobby, I do it on the side, I'm not really, you know, into it, I don't really know how to get to the next level. So I looked at on the side definition, first because the English words, I don't understand them, so I look at it, and it says, the first definition online is like, secretly, doing something secretly when it's on the side. You know, the first example is, this guy has a mistress on the side. I have a creative job on the side. You know, that sounds a bit. You know. So why not serious? You have a passion. You're really passionate about something. You really want to do it. You know, like you're into it, and you just say, "But I'm not gonna do it seriously." Why not? What stops you from it? You know, you like to do photography. Just go outside, take pictures, and you'll be. I mean, you're gonna be so much happier about it. You know, and that's all about that. I look around. And this whole world is surrounded with creative content. We live in a world of digital entertainment, you know, and we need creative and new ideas all the time. You know, we're surrounded by it. And I'm not even talking about social media where you have images like a Twitter, Instagram, whatever there is outside. I'm trying to kind of stay away from it because it's a bit overwhelming for me. But you get into these things on internet, magazines, TV, you go to big cities, there's just like giant ads with imagery or sounds, or, you know, everything is like linked to creative media. That's what it is. So it's fun and all. Like you create a meme, you know, like a follow of somebody with a monkey or whatever, right? And you just put a comment, it's funny and stuff. And it's an image and it's creative content, if you will. But really, if you think of it, if you want like professional execution of a creative content, you're probably going to need professional creatives, trained efficiently, people who know what they're doing. So there is room for employment in it as well. Being a creative professional is not something on top of the mountain, like you don't know if you're gonna reach it. No, you just, you know, you can reach it. I've done it. A lot of people have done it. I know a lot of people, because I kind of like surround myself with creative people as well, just to kind of like bounce ideas and stuff. All their ideas are terrible, mine are much better. But just to say that art as well, you know, which is a different section of creativity, it's not going anywhere. It's been there since the cavemen. The guys were like drawing on rocks, you know, with like straws and powder and stuff. It's just like, it stays forever too. Like it's very efficient. This is the first graffiti, if you will, or like the first storytelling, the first movies. You know, the guys will sit in front of that giant rock and it's just like, oh, this is fascinating. That fascinates people. That brings people outside of their normal life. That takes them in museum and say, hey, you know, this thing is fantastic. Or you have other people who say, I don't understand. Or my kid could do it. But he didn't. This normal life, every day, is full of creative people. I'm sure in this room there are like 50 people who have like a great idea right now. They don't want to share it because they're shy, or they don't know if it's accomplished yet, or it's like completely full. But the world is full of these creative people. Do you hear online about successful entrepreneurs who just follow the norm? Never. It's always somebody who had like the idea. And sometimes the idea is a bit edgy, you know? It's like, just there, but then that's the good idea. And it grows to the point where you get like something really efficient creatively, and that drives people. That's what people are looking for. So the society needs creative people. So there is a market, again, to get into it and just become a professional in it. So feel confident about your creativity. If you feel like you have like a slight idea or that like you have this passion that's growing and stuff, develop it. Don't abandon, don't quit. Even if people again tell you, this is not the normal way, you're gonna sit at that desk. Embrace your creativity. I did it, that worked. There is no reason why it wouldn't work for you. Make a living out of it. If you can, at least give it a shot. It's not easy again, but if you don't try it, you'll never know. And then, after that, you'll go to sleep satisfied and accomplished. And there is a chance that you're going to wake up in the morning with something new to do, because that's what this kind of job brings, something new every day. There is like kind of like a sort of mechanical aspect to jobs as well, when you need to execute, you know, brochures or websites. That doesn't matter. So invent, create, perform, take risk. You will wake up a better person every day. I promise you that. Enjoy the rewards, because they're yours. You know, if you create it, if you put it on the table, it's your idea, it's your passion. Even if you involve people in there, that's still kind of like your baby. It's really yours. It's really rewarding. Like, you'll feel good about it, you know. And the idea is like, if you're a satisfied human being, there's a chance that you're going to be a positive person towards your friends, in your environment, and your family. You know, I feel much better when I have like positive projects going in, taking care of my kids and being able to take breaks, just because I'm satisfied mentally, and then I can go to them and just share. So everyone wins. The society will win, your friends will win, your family will win, because you're a better person and you're at peace. A society with a healthy amount of creative people, with new ideas, a positive approach in general, will definitely grow stronger and wiser, whether here, in another country, all around the world. That's just the way it works. Einstein said, logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. Thank you.